Hello and welcome to Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. I am Mark V-neck Hoffmeyer.
And I am Jay Magic Shark Lure Cluett. And this week we're talking about Deep Blue Sea 3, Chapter 6. What happens in Deep Blue Sea 3, Chapter 6? Well, let me tell you. Understandably, having just witnessed two sharks fully comprehending a hostage situation, Dr. Emma Collins demands an explanation from Dr. Richard Lowell. He fills her in on the events of not just Achilles and Deep Blue Sea 2, but Aquatica and the original Deep Blue Sea. Richard informs Emma about the experiments of Dr. Susan McAllister and Dr. Jim Whitlock to increase the brain size of mako sharks and harvest them for proteins to help combat Alzheimer's. Then Carl Durant set out to increase the intelligence of bull sharks, to then potentially increase the intelligence of humans to combat a robot uprising. I forgot. I forgot that was the plot of Deep Blue Sea 2. The sharks hunting around Little Happy are the last survivors of Achilles, Bella's last three offspring, and Lucas and his crew have been hunting them ever since. Via a live video feed to the lab, Richard demonstrates to Emma that activating the deceased Bella's tracking device stimulates the surviving sharks, who missed their mother, and he is using the tracker to try and catch the sharks alive. Emma storms off, disgusted, but Richard chases her, insisting that catching the sharks is imperative to protecting the rest of the ocean. But she punches him square in the jaw for not warning them of the danger, resulting in Bahari's death. Lucas, who overheard Richard and Emma's conversation, confronts Richard back in the lab about telling Emma and keeping Bella's tracker a secret, so Lucas takes the tracker for himself. Back in the church, Emma and her team try to make sense of everything and realise they cannot call anyone for help because the internet is down. Shaw sees Lucas, Shills and Earl prepping to head back out with the tracker and a metal box and gets Spin to use the now fixed drone to follow them. Emma checks the satellite phone and finds it out of order, so follows a red cable to find the satellite dish, leading her out into the water where she finds the cable has been severed. Meanwhile, Shaw, Spin and Mia watch the drone footage and see Lucas's men fix the contents of the box underwater, which causes Shaw some alarm. That's what happens in Deep Blue Sea 3, Chapter 6. Quite a lot happens this week. Who is joining us, Mark, to help us dissect this chapter?
It's Paige. Paige is back.
Hi,
Thank
Paige.
you for coming back.
Hello.
How are
Thank you
you?
for having me back. I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this chapter and this movie in general. I really enjoyed it.
So we haven't talked to you since the first one, since you joined us on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. So this is Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, since Deep Blue Sea 1999. So, talk to us about Deep Blue Sea 3. Like, how do you feel about it?
You know, I watched 2 and 3 back to back, so it was interesting. It was kind of a whiplash because not to turn this into let's rag on the second one hour, but wow, what a stark contrast in quality we've got going on here. And I really was surprised at how much I liked it, and people weren't really lying when they said, oh, the third one's so much better, because it was. And when I see Tanya Raymond in something and it seems like a straight to DVD kind of movie, I'm like, okay, so she's going to be the one carrying this movie, which is usually the case. But no, everyone was great in it. It was enjoyable. I actually paid attention and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I felt the same way you did about Deep Blue Sea 2, but then when Jay and I spent 10 weeks with it, I began to love it. I adore it now.
That's called Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, I was stuck with it for 10 weeks, and I'm like, well, I might as well love it. And so, watching Deep Blue Sea 2, I almost didn't want to watch Deep Blue Sea 3. But then I watched Deep Blue Sea 3, and I'm like, this is really good. This is really fun. So I'm glad we're covering this. And I got a question for y'all. During this chapter, when Dr. Emma Collins walks up to Spin, and he's just like, oh, the internet is out. Spin, do you think he thought maybe I should go check it out? Because isn't he the tech guy in this place? Is it Dr. Emma Collins' job to do this?
Yeah, it's definitely Spin's job to do this. But he's been busy fixing the drones. That's only just been repaired.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And I don't know how reliable the internet connection is on Little Happy. Maybe this is just a regular occurrence. Every week or so, the internet goes down for a few hours, and they just have to kind of deal with it. Because they're on a little man-made island off the coast of Mozambique.
Yeah.
So they've probably got worse Wi-Fi than we do.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, you sold it for me.
But he should definitely be the one fixing it, if anybody.
Yeah, Spin is 65% done. I'm like, come on, man. I like Spin. I like the actor a lot. Spin's an endearing character, one of the nicest of the franchise. And I was like, come on, man, go check out that Wi-Fi. Go do it. Do something. I don't know. So I don't know.
Alex Batt, who plays Spin, his picture on IMDb is like a really evil face that does not fit with the character of Spin. It's the same person. I know it's the same person, but I've seen this guy mostly as Spin. I don't think I've seen him in anything else. And it's such a contrast of like this brooding, eyebrows furrowed compared to Spin, who's like a happy-go-lucky, joking around kind of guy. I don't like that that's his profile picture on IMDb.
He's staring into my soul. He reminds me of like Andrew Garfield, but angry.
I can see that, yeah.
Or Christian Bale on the Harsh Times poster. I don't know why I pulled that, but yeah, I would say, yeah, it's about right. Seems good.
So this is the chapter that ties the three films together. We found out last week that this is definitely Bella coming from Achilleos, but now they've tied in Aquatica. They've tied in all the films are tied together, and they talk about the plan. They talk about the Mako sharks are too small. They know about that. That's public information that got out. Did Carter talk? Did Preacher talk?
How did that get out?
Did Carl Durant pay off Carter and Preacher to get information? Well, it would have had to been Carter because Preacher didn't know. Preacher never knew that the shark brains were made bigger.
But I guess if all right, Carl Durant gets a hold of CB, and he's like, hey man, like what did Dr. Susan McAllister do? And what would Carter Blake say? Like, listen man, I don't make waves. I just know that she did some stuff to the brains. Like, I don't think he could fill him in on what Dr. Susan McAllister did. So did they send a team underwater to get the research?
The research was fried.
Yeah.
I thought all do you have a theory page, how this all ties together?
No, but now I need a fourth movie so we can just tie up all those loose ends. Because,
a prequel.
I realized when this was the chapter we were going to be discussing and I got to it, I realized I didn't pay any attention to the second one. I was like, wow, they really wrapped all that up, didn't they? Oh my God, they connected it to the second one. Maybe I should have paid attention to the second movie some more. I was like, wow.
Well, if you want to find out more about it, we have 10 whole episodes delving into it. So.
I know. I did just finish listening to the one with the director and Tanya.
Oh, nice.
The episode 4. Yeah.
Yes. Any listeners out there who haven't gone back and listened to our two chats with John Pogue and one with Tanya Ramondi, you should absolutely do that.
Yeah,
a lot of Evian talk.
Well, going back to the part in that chapter where the internet goes down. When Emma, she goes to she finds the cable and she's following it down into the water. Do we think that's like a male gazy kind of thing, or was it a throwback to the first one when she strips down and then the tracking shot of her feet?
Well, if it is a throwback, it's the second one because we've already had a shower sequence, which was very brief with Emma.
It reminded me of remember in the first one when Saffron Burrows walks into the water and we see her feet? Yeah,
that was the chapter I was lost on, so I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, oh, it happened again.
Yeah, right? It feels like a homage because it's really, they set that up. Like she doesn't just do a cannonball in the water. Like that'd be hilarious.
Be
cannonball!
She's trying to be all subtle.
Oh, does a backflip.
That zero splash like in Coneheads.
We need the cannonball cut of this. But yeah, right? Oh gosh. But no, yeah, that has to be. That's deliberate right there. That has to be, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
Because that's a legit feet shot. And that's kind of random. We gave you two feet scenes in a row. Foot scenes. I'm losing it here. No, I have that in my notes and I have it circled. I think I wrote DBS shot. And also, I want to get my doctorate now. So whenever I do something dumb, I can say, dumb idea, Dr. Hoffmeyer. Like that's my goal in life now. When I speak in third person, I can call myself Dr. Hoffmeyer.
I did find it interesting that she called herself Dr. Collins, because when they're having the drinking scene, she told Mia to call her Emma when they're drinking together. So this is very down to business now. She knows that she's doing something serious. This isn't a relaxing moment. This is a serious. She's calling herself Dr. Collins. That's how serious this is.
So when she's like playing pinball and messes up, she's like, "Oh, Dr. Emma."
Bad move, Emma. Yeah.
Oh, but when she's going to check out the Wi-Fi wires when there's genetically modified bull sharks, she calls herself Dr. Collins.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Man, that makes sense, Jay. You're
does.
on fire today. Oh, man. Yeah, but that's definitely the feat. That's definitely homage to Deep Blue Sea.
100%. I didn't even pick up on that, so I'm glad that you did, Paige. Well,
I mean, there's a lot of feet there. She
Yeah.
should have done a cannonball.
see, I've just watched A Quiet Place Part 2 where there's a lot of feet shots in that, so I'm blind to feet shots, it seems.
Just the best nail gag in that movie since, Home Alone 1? Best stepping on a nail scene, which has nothing to do with Deep Blue Sea.
Not at all. But we're here anyway. Good.
Another random question. On Dr. Richard Lowell, he has a lot of loose beakers and formaldehyde jars and cabinets on a boat. That must be like the Cadillac of boats to keep all that stuff on the shelf, right?
Must be, yeah.
It literally looks like it. Like,
It's
it's big enough.
This, like fish skulls or fish heads and things mounted to the tops of shelves. Maybe everything is really screwed down.
Just like Velcroed to each thing. They must be.
Or this boat has so many anchors, but it's not moving anywhere. And he, once they docked, he then spent 3 hours setting everything up.
Wait, a 4-anchor boat?
Maybe. One in every corner. Boats don't have corners. If you know what I mean.
What do you think, Paige? What's keeping these things on their shelves?
Oh my god. Super glue? I don't know.
Did you get that thought?
It's at the bottom of the ocean now, so.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Everything is still on the shelf. The boat's in pieces. Everything's still on the shelf.
Perfectly in place.
All that work I did in my lab.
The lobster is swimming away.
Yeah. The cooked lobster.
Yeah, the cooked lobster. The very much dead lobster is swimming away.
I do love the lab though. The production design. It feels labby to me. It feels like a lived-in lab.
Yeah, it does. I'd say it feels less lived in than the parts of Little Happy. It's less lived in than Nandy's kitchen, or the kind of the church research area. But then this lab is mainly just for one person, so it's just Richard's lab. So it would be less lived in because it is. It's just one guy as opposed to a team.
And what do you think about Lucas being the shark? Because, Paige, do you remember in Deep Blue Sea 2 when Carl Durant drinks his Limitless juice and sees flashes of math and the shark is just watching him?
Yeah. I remember.
Lucas is doing that in this scene. So is Lucas becoming the shark?
Lucas is he was the off-brand Eric Bana, right?
Yeah, the spin kicker.
Yeah,
Okay.
the big burly guy. Yeah.
Okay.
You call it, that's funny about Eric Bana. My wife called him Scott Adkins' cousin.
But I think Eric Banner is closest, so that is
Yeah,
perfect. I can see that. That's how he is in my head now. So thank you.
I'm
Thank
still
you.
processing that scene from Deep Blue Sea 2. It's just a shark just sitting there staring at him.
Oh, it's the best
listening
scene.
in.
It's the best moment from the franchise. It's just Bella at the window.
Yeah. Just hearing reading lips like 2001.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lucas. Wait, Black Belt Bana. That's what we could call him.
Belt Banner. Okay.
Bana.
Is it Banner or Banner? I'm sticking with Banner.
Yeah, because his spin kick in this movie is glorious. But okay. I have another question, Paige. Do you think Lucas, so obviously he becomes the bad guy, but he's sort of just doing his job and he's been lied to, and he's lost part of his team, and he's just trying to do what he's paid to prevent.
Yeah.
What's it called? A Sharkageddon?
Teamageddon.
Teamageddon. Yeah. So is he obviously he becomes a villain, but the dude's trying to do his job, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of money behind him. He's being paid a lot of money. He just wants to get the job done. So he looks like a bad guy from the protagonist's point of view. But I don't think he should have been blowing up that little